I just watched The Summer I Turned Pretty, Season 3, Episode 7, The Last Hurrah, which was just released on Amazon Prime, and this is going to be a review that does contain spoilers, so if you haven't seen it yet and want to save it, skip this video and come back after you have watched the episode. Now, this episode, we get to see Belly and Jeremiah's bachelor and bachelorette parties. So what is going down is everyone is coming to Cousins for the wedding, and they are having these parties. They first start at the summer house where they're drinking, doing beer pong, things of that nature, just hanging out, and then at night they're all gonna go beer hopping, but the guys are going to split off and go to some bars, and then the girls are going to split up and go to other bars. And you really see Belly trying to deal with this wedding. Again, she is very overwhelmed, and there also is some emotions with Conrad as well. So everything is going fine, and they decide to go beer hopping, they split up, everything is good. And Belly is at a tiki bar and then has some flashbacks. She'd taken some gummies, she's drunk, there's a lot going on, and she starts having flashbacks of Conrad throughout her whole life, and it's actually a really cute moment. But she then starts to kind of have a panic attack because, she is going to marry Jeremiah. Now, before this happened, she thanks Taylor, and she's like, Taylor, I love you so much. Thanks for having my mom be here, a part of the wedding, and a part of the bridal shower as well. And Taylor's like, I didn't convince Laurel. I didn't do that. I wish I did, but I didn't, and I tried, and even my mom, Lucinda, did, but that didn't happen. And then Belly puts it together that Conrad. So they're in front of this candy shop, and they sort of pass the boys, and Belly asks if she can speak to Conrad, and Conrad's like, yes, I did talk to Laurel, after Belly was kind of pushing at him to, hey, did you talk to my mom? So that kind of led up to the moment where then she's having these flashbacks of Conrad at this bar. Well, then we see the guys, and they are doing their bar hopping, and it's all fun and games. And this is when the guys start talking about spring break and Cabo, and Conrad overhears them discussing how Jeremiah cheated on Belly, and he kind of flips a little bit, but he decides to just leave, and he goes to the beach. Well, before the night started, Belly and Jeremiah decided that they are going to get totally, wasted and crazy because the wedding's in a couple of days, and a lot of people are in town, and they're going to meet up at the beach at the end of the night, just to meet each other, some little quiet time before the wedding. Well, it comes, Jeremiah is totally wasted. He goes back to the house, he's barfing, and he just passes out, and Belly is waiting for him at the beach. But who is at the beach? Of course, it is Conrad, because he needed some space away, and he sort of confronts Belly. He's like, I have something to tell you. Jeremiah cheated on you during spring break, and Belly's like, yeah, I know, but he still loves me. And then we get to Conrad confessing his love to Belly, and he's like, I screwed up 4 years ago, yada yada, I still love you. And Belly gets very defensive and angry and is like, well, Jeremiah loves me more than you could ever love me, blah, blah, blah. And it's a very emotional moment, and the big reveal that Conrad still loves Belly is done very, very well. I will say the acting was on point, and the emotional moments, they really hit home. They did a fantastic job, and that was really the big moment of this episode, the confession. And I'm excited to see the repercussions of that, because later you see Belly, and she decides to sleep in Taylor's room for the night, and she is just crying, and then that's how the episode ends. But if we are going to follow Taylor's storyline, her and Steven, Denise is also at this wedding, and she's kind of around the bachelor and bachelorette party. And Taylor's like, Steven, we can still be friends. I'll be your wing woman. I'll help you get Denise. Yada, yada, yada. And she pushes Steven towards Denise, and she eventually tells Denise, yeah, you should text Steven, he's into you. And Steven and Denise meet up during the bar hopping, and they kind of go their own way. And then they go back to Denise's hotel where Lucinda's there. And Lucinda and Taylor had just had a big fight about Steven, and Lucinda is drunk, and Steven decides to help her back to her room and sort of leaves Denise. So she is sort of meddling within her daughter's love life a little bit. But that's why we love Lucinda, so can't blame her there. But that's sort of the Taylor and Steven, and also the main focal point of this episode. So there was a lot that went down, and the big reveal went down as well, that now mostly everyone knows about the cheating except Steven. He doesn't know yet, so I'm curious once he knows how that's gonna go. But overall, it is pretty similar to the book. Yes, it does happen at the bachelor parties that Conrad does find out. So overall, I did enjoy the episode. I think the acting was really good, and especially with the soundtrack, the Love of My Life song, Taylor Swift, they played that at the very end. So emotional. I was like, oh, they're getting me with this episode again. And we also see a little moment between Belly's parents, John and Laurel, so they might be getting back together. We'll see. This episode I did enjoy. I think is going to be a big turning point. I'm more looking forward to next episode. I hope we really do get to see the wedding, because in the Summer I Turned Pretty world, I believe it's like 3 or 2 days before the wedding, so I'm hoping we are going to see that next episode. Or at least some parts, the drama, because there's not a lot of episodes left. This has 11 episodes, I'm pretty sure, so not that many left, and we still have a lot to dive into. But let me know if you are still watching The Summer I Turned Pretty, if you are ready for the wedding, because I know I am. Let me know in the comment section down below, but have a great day. Bye!